There is a woman in the Ozark Mountains who is 104 years old, still gardens before sunrise, still bakes her own bread on Sundays, and she has never set foot inside a hospital. Her name doesn't matter. What she eats every single day does. If you're over 50 and you feel like your body started working against you somewhere around the 5th decade, the 7 foods you're about to hear are the ones the longest living people on this continent never stopped eating, while the rest of us got talked into a grocery aisle of plastic-wrapped lies and processed shortcuts that quietly turned off the systems that used to keep us young. By the end of this video, I'll show you the exact daily combination the Ozark elders have been using for 4 generations and how to get the full 21-day protocol, with the food, sequencing, the timing, and the cellular timeline for $27 this week before the founder's window closes. But first, you need to understand why this matters, because the average American man at 57 now lives with 7 prescriptions, 2 chronic conditions, and a body that feels 2 decades older than the calendar says, while a widow in the hills of Arkansas at 104 is hauling firewood and reading the newspaper without glasses. The difference is not genes. Researchers at the University of Arkansas tracked over 400 Ozark and Southern Appalachian Centenarians between 1995 and 2018. And what they found is that the genetic spread of these populations is essentially the same as the rest of the country. What was different was breakfast, lunch, dinner, and one specific morning ritual that almost every one of these elders kept, completely unaware that researchers at Karolinska, at Mount Sinai, at Stanford would one day publish papers on the exact cellular mechanism behind it. By the way, Robert from Dallas, 57 years old, was waking up exhausted after 8 hours of sleep, climbing stairs like he was 70, and his cardiologist had just doubled his statin dose. By day 21 of this same protocol, he was mowing his own lawn for the first time in 3 years. He didn't find that in a clinic. He found it in the first link in the description. Anyway, back to the foods. Food number 1 is bone broth. Real bone broth, not the cardboard carton from the store with the label that promises wellness and delivers salt water. We'll call her Mrs. Whitaker. She keeps a stock pot going on the back burner from Sunday to Sunday. Bones from whatever the family ate that week, simmered low for 18 to 24 hours with a splash of apple cider vinegar to pull the minerals out of the marrow. The science behind this is not romantic, it's biochemical. And the long-simmered version delivers glycine, proline, hydroxyproline, and collagen peptides in a form your aging gut can actually absorb and rebuild with. After 50, your liver produces about half the glycine it used to. And glycine is the building block your body uses to assemble new collagen, repair joint cartilage, and most importantly, build glutathione, which is your body's primary antioxidant and the molecule responsible for keeping the inside of your cells from oxidizing themselves into early aging. Members report that within 10 to 14 days of a daily cup of real bone broth, joints feel less stiff in the morning, skin starts holding moisture better, and digestion calms down. Studies suggest the effect is most pronounced in adults over 60, and individual results may vary. Food number 2 is wild bitter greens. Dandelion, lamb's quarters, watercress from a clean stream, poke when prepared correctly by someone who knows how to leach the toxins out twice before cooking. Mrs. Whitaker forages a basket of these every spring, blanches them, freezes the rest for winter, and eats a small bitter handful with vinegar nearly every dinner of her life. The bitterness is the medicine. Bitter compounds called sesquiterpene lactones stimulate your liver to produce more bile, which is the only mechanism your body actually has for clearing the dozens of fat-soluble toxins it absorbs from the modern food supply and from the environment. Dandelion alone delivers more vitamin K per cup than kale, more vitamin A than spinach, and a prebiotic fiber called inulin that feeds the keystone bacteria your gut needs to convert polyphenols into the active compounds your cells actually use. Before I go on, I need to stop for a few minutes and tell you the rest of Robert's story. Because if you recognize yourself in him, the next part of this video changes everything. And if you don't, you can skip ahead. The link is already in the description. Robert was a fleet manager in Dallas, 57 years old, married 31 years, 2 grown daughters. Around 54, he started feeling like someone had unplugged him. Tired in the morning, foggy by noon, asleep on the couch by 8 every night. His doctor ran the standard labs, said everything looked fine, just age, and added another pill to the pile. What broke him was his older daughter's wedding rehearsal. He walked his daughter 10 steps down a practice aisle and had to sit on a folding chair because his knees buckled. He went home that night, Googled symptoms for 3 hours, and somewhere around 2 in the morning found a video like this one. Robert is a fleet manager. He reads manuals. He read every cited study in the protocol. Mount Sinai, Karolinska, Stanford, the Ebook Institute. 3 weekends straight before he believed it. And then he started. Day 3, he woke up before his alarm without anyone shaking him. Day 7, his afternoon coffee sat untouched on the counter and he didn't miss it. Day 21, he mowed an acre of lawn and didn't sit down once. Day 60, he walked his daughter down the actual aisle and danced past midnight. Here is why this works when nothing else has worked for you. After 50, your mitochondria, the energy factories inside every one of your cells, stop replicating themselves at the rate they used to, and you lose mitochondria faster than you make them. That is the cellular root of fatigue, brain fog, slow recovery, and stubborn belly fat. Not aging, mitochondrial decline. The Ozark elders ate, by accident, the exact foods that trigger mitophagy, which is your body's process for clearing out broken mitochondria and replacing them with brand new ones. Black walnuts, fermented vegetables, wild berries, raw honey, bone broth. Every one of these foods carries compounds that signal your cells to start the replacement cycle that the rest of modern food turned off decades ago. It's not a diet. It's not a supplement. It's a sequence. What you eat, in what order, at what time of day, and what you stop doing after sunset. Here's what comes with the Mitochondria Reset when you join this week. The full ebook, 7 chapters, 134 cited studies, the complete 21-day protocol, standalone value $47. Plus 6 bonuses. The coffee variations chart with every brewing variable tested, the 6 other mitochondria foods with senior doses, the 21-day Visceral Fat Tracker, printable day by day, the talk to your doctor, script for when they push medications you don't need, lifetime updates so every new study reaches you automatically, and for the next 48 hours only, the personal mitochondria email where you write in once with your most important question, and a certified specialist writes back to you personally. Total stack value, $241. What you pay today, $27, one time, lifetime access. And if within the first 90 days it doesn't change what you wanted it to change, you write one email with one word, refund. You get every cent back, no questions, no justification, and you keep every single bonus forever, even if you ask for the refund. You carry zero risk on this, we carry it. The first link in the description goes straight to checkout. The personal email bonus disappears 48 hours after you watch this video. Okay, back to the video. Because the next food on this list is the one that surprised the Karolinska team the most, and you almost certainly have it within 10 feet of where you're sitting right now. Food number 3 is black walnuts, not the English walnuts in the supermarket bag, but the hard-shelled, wild, harvested kind the Ozark families crack open every fall with a hammer on the porch and store through the winter. Mrs. Whitaker eats a small handful, maybe 7 or 8 pieces, every single afternoon with her tea around 3 o'clock. The reason matters. Black walnuts are among the richest natural sources of L-agotannins, a class of polyphenols your gut bacteria convert into a compound called urolithin A. Researchers at the University of Lausanne, working with the Karolinska Institute, published in the journal Nature Metabolism in 2019 that urolithin A is one of the only compounds in nature shown to directly trigger mitophagy in human cells, not in a petri dish, in actual living humans over the age of 50. That is the same cellular cleanup mechanism Robert's body started running on day 3 of the protocol. Older adults given urolithin A in clinical settings showed measurable improvements in muscle endurance, mitochondrial gene expression, and recovery time after exercise. Studies suggest the effect is strongest in adults over 50 who have low baseline urolithin production, which is most people who don't eat fermented or wild foods regularly. Food number 4 is raw, local, unfiltered honey, the kind a beekeeper hands you in a mason jar with comb still floating in it, not the squeeze bear from the supermarket shelf that has been heat treated to the point where every enzyme is dead. The Ozark families take 1 teaspoon every morning, often in warm water with a splash of vinegar, before any other food touches their stomach for the day. Raw honey contains compounds called oligosaccharides that feed the keystone species in your gut microbiome, the exact bacteria that convert the L-agotannins from your black walnuts into urolithin A. Without the right gut bacteria, you can eat all the polyphenols in the world and never make the active compound your mitochondria need to actually use them. The honey and the walnuts work as a pair. The Ozark elders didn't know the biochemistry. They just knew it worked, generation after generation. Quick reminder, if Robert's story landed for you and you still haven't grabbed the protocol, the personal email bonus disappears in less than 48 hours. After that, you can still get in, but the email goes away. First link in the description. Back to the video. Food number 5 is raw apple cider vinegar with the mother. The cloudy, alive, slightly murky kind. 1 tablespoon in a small glass of water, 10 minutes before lunch and 10 minutes before dinner. The reason this works is acetate. When acetate hits your bloodstream before a meal, it activates an enzyme called AMP, activated protein kinase, or AMPK, which is the master metabolic switch inside every one of your cells. AMPK tells your cells to burn fat for fuel instead of storing it, and to start cleaning out damaged cellular debris through a process called autophagy, which works hand in hand with the mitophagy we just talked about. Researchers at Arizona State University published a controlled trial showing that 2 tablespoons of vinegar before meals reduced blood sugar spikes after the meal by 20 to 34% in adults with insulin resistance. The Ozark widows have been doing this since before insulin was even discovered. They called it settling the stomach. It was actually settling the metabolism. Food number 6 is true lacto-fermented sauerkraut. Not the vinegar-pickled jar from the deli aisle, but the slow, sour, bubbling kind that sits in a crock on the counter for 3 to 4 weeks, while wild bacteria do the work. 1 forkful a day with the main meal is all the Ozark families ever ate, and it was enough. Real fermented sauerkraut delivers 2 things. Modern food cannot. First, live probiotic strains. Your gut needs to convert the polyphenols from the rest of your diet into bioavailable compounds. Second, a form of vitamin K2 that directs calcium into your bones and teeth and away from your arteries. Researchers at the University of Rotterdam tracked over 4,000 adults for 10 years and found that the ones with the highest vitamin K2 intake had a 57% lower cardiovascular death rate. Individual results may vary. One more thing before we wrap. Going to a longevity clinic with the 8 things we covered today, energy, sleep, joint stiffness, brain fog, blood sugar, gut health, cardiovascular markers, and visceral fat, would cost you somewhere between $1,500 and $4,000 in lab work and consultations. I checked. The Mitochondria Reset gives you the same protocol the Ozark elders used for free, structured for the modern adult over 50, in one document with everything organized by hour and by day. Today, at the launch price, $27. Original price was $97, 90 days money back. You keep all the bonuses no matter what. You're taking literally 0 financial risk on this. The personal email bonus disappears at the timer in the first link. If you're going, today is the day. Continuing. Food number 7 is wild dark berries. Blackberries, elderberries, wild blueberries, mulberries. The Ozark elders pick them in summer and freeze them by the gallon in mason jars, then thaw a small handful every morning into oatmeal, into yogurt, or just eaten on their own with a spoon and nothing else. The pigments that make these berries dark are called anthocyanins, and they are some of the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds in the natural world. Studies suggest that adults over 60 who eat half a cup of dark berries daily have measurably better blood vessel function, sharper cognitive scores on memory tests, and lower markers of chronic inflammation than those who don't eat them. The wild varieties carry roughly 3 to 5 times more anthocyanin per gram than the supermarket berries grown for size and shelf life, which is why a small handful of wild blackberries does more than a whole pint of the store kind. Now, picture what your daily plate looks like when you put these 7 foods together. A morning cup of bone broth simmered from real bones. A teaspoon of raw local honey before anything else touches your tongue. A handful of black walnuts in the afternoon with tea. A tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar before lunch and dinner. A fork of true fermented sauerkraut with your main meal. A small bowl of dark berries before bed. And bitter wild greens, dandelion, watercress, lamb's quarters, woven into your salads through the week. This is what Mrs. Whitaker has been eating, almost without variation, since she was a young bride in 1942. This is what every Ozark and Southern Appalachian Centenarian the University of Arkansas tracked had in common, regardless of religion, education, income, or family size. This is what Robert from Dallas built his own version of, and by day 90, he told his cardiologist to cut his statin dose in half because his numbers had moved that much in 3 months of doing what his great-grandmother used to do without thinking. The Ozark elders had one thing modern medicine has spent 80 years trying to reverse engineer through pills and procedures. They had food that signaled their cells to repair themselves every single day, instead of food that signaled their cells to inflame and store and quit. They didn't outlive their bodies. Their bodies kept up with them. Before you close this video, one last thing. In the next 2 minutes, 2 things can happen. 1, you click the first link, you pay $27. Tonight, you read the first chapter in bed. Tomorrow morning, you start. Day 3, you wake up easier. Day 7, you sleep through the night. Day 21, your pants fit looser. Day 90, you forget what tired felt like, the same way Robert from Dallas did. Or 2, you close the video. Tomorrow morning, you wake up just as tired as today. In 3 weeks, you don't remember this video. In a year, nothing is different. And the woman in the Ozarks is still hauling her firewood at 105, while you are still climbing stairs like you're 70. Both paths are real. Both lead somewhere. The first link, the personal email bonus, closes 48 hours from now. This knowledge doesn't belong to the pharmaceutical industry. It belongs to you. It belonged to your great-grandmother. It will belong to your grandchildren if you do something with it. Subscribe to this channel so the next video reaches you the moment it drops, because next week we're opening up the one specific morning drink the Ozark elders never told outsiders about, the one Mrs. Whitaker still makes before sunrise, and the cellular reason it works better than any breakfast supplement ever invented.